Alright, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create a training metric and using the clustering algorithm in MicroStrategy. Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you how to create a training metric that uses a clustering algorithm in MicroStrategy. But first, let's talk a little bit about clustering algorithms and how they work. Now, the easiest way to demonstrate them is by graphing some data points. So let's say we want to do some analysis on zip codes based on demographics. So we'll put income on the x-axis and we'll put population on the y-axis. Now let's suppose that also each of these x's represents a particular zip code. What a clustering algorithm will do is it will attempt to separate these data points by drawing boundary lines. Okay, so let's suppose you were shooting for two clusters. The algorithm would draw a boundary separating these data points into two distinct groups. Cluster 1 would be on the top, let's say, and cluster 2 would be on the bottom. Now suppose you wanted to separate these zip codes into four groups. Well, what the algorithm would do is it would draw another boundary and it would separate these zip codes into four distinct clusters. Cluster 1, Cluster 2, Cluster 3, and Cluster 4. So by plotting this data and drawing these boundaries, you can kind of get an intuition behind how the clustering algorithms work, right? How they are able to separate data points into like groups. And they could do this based on whatever attributes you'd like. But one of the things you might be wondering is, how do I know how many clusters I need? How do I know what the right amount of clusters is? Well, let me show you the idea behind how the algorithm knows how to determine the optimal number of clusters. Well, as the algorithm is training, right, as it's learning, as it's exploring, right, as it's processing, one thing it does is it keeps track of the error, right? And the error just means how bad is it doing, right? How good or bad is it doing? So let's go ahead and graph what this looks like, okay? So along the bottom axis, we have the number of clusters, and along the y-axis, we have the error, right? So one thing you'll see is as the algorithm adds clusters, you'll see that initially the error drops sharply, right? Which means the model is improving drastically, right? But then what you'll start to see is you'll see it'll bottom out, right? And it'll keep adding more clusters, but the model won't necessarily be improving that much, right? So that's how it knows where the optimal point is, right? Once the error starts to bottom out, that is your optimal point. So just before it bottoms out, let's say you had 4 clusters, that would be your optimal number of clusters. And I'm going to show you how to do all of this in MicroStrategy. It is surprisingly simple. MicroStrategy handles all the heavy lifting in the background. So let's jump on over to MicroStrategy and show you how this is done. Alright, so here we are in MicroStrategy. Now let's go ahead and create our training metric that will do the clustering for us. So let's go ahead and we'll click File, New, and we'll select Training Metric. We'll click Next. Now, we're going to select Cluster down here on the left. Now, there's two options here. Specify the exact number of clusters. That's if you know exactly how many clusters you want. I would assume in most cases you don't, and you just want the algorithm to find the optimal number of clusters for you. Remember, that was the chart I showed you in the previous slides, where once the error kind of bottoms out, then then that's how the algorithm knows how to find the optimal number of clusters. So we will choose the second option here. That is how you do that, and we will specify, you know, it's kind of trial and error. So you just specify, I usually just specify a high number of clusters to make sure that I don't limit the algorithm, and the algorithm is able to find the optimal number of clusters, the correct number of clusters. So percent improvement. Now, remember when I said the way the algorithm will find the right number of clusters is once the model is no longer improving by a certain amount. That's how it knows it's pretty much bottomed out, and adding clusters is not really adding any value to the model. It's not really improving the model, right? So that's what this percent improvement parameter is. You're telling MicroStrategy, okay, what's the threshold? So if the model doesn't improve by 30%, 20%, how do I know when it's bottomed out? What threshold should I use? So that's this value. So I usually just leave it to default. Seems to work well, so you can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and click Next. Okay, now is where we select our metrics, and this is how we want the clustering algorithm to separate our data by, right? What attributes do we want it to consider for the clustering, right? So in this case, we're going to use our demographic attributes. Technically, they're metrics, but so we'll go into our demographics folder. And for this demonstration, we'll use unemployment percent and total population and, of course, household income. So let's click Next. And I'll choose the entity ID, so I'll show you kind of what that is. And maybe I'll create another video at another point to kind of go, I guess, maybe do a deep dive into these training metrics and some of these options here and what they mean. Let's just keep this simple here. I just want to give you a basic idea of how this works because you will see this will be effective. So let's go ahead and leave everything as is, click Next, and we'll click Finish. And we will save this. Now, so all we've done so far is we have created our training metric. In order to actually train this metric, we need to add it to a report. Now remember, we're doing this by zip code. So let's go ahead and create a new report. So we want to train this clustering algorithm based on demographic information by zip code. So let's go ahead and add our zip code to the report. So we'll add zip code. And then we will add our training metric that we just created. Okay. And let's go ahead and run that. And let's see what we get. Okay. So there you have it. So now this pop-up box is telling us that it has created our metrics. Now remember, this training metric is created or is used to create other metrics that can be used in the report. So I just want to make that clear distinction here. This training metric, the results of running this report with this training metric will actually create additional metrics that we can then use in our reports going forward to break zip codes into clusters, right? And to actually use that and extract value out of that in our reporting. So let's go ahead and click OK. And now you can see the results here. So you can see cluster 2, cluster 3. So it looks like it's created about 3 clusters. There may be more here if we keep looking, but it looks like about 3 clusters it's created. It was able to separate these zip codes into 3 distinct clusters, at least. There may be a 4 here, but it looks like there's just 3. So that was the optimal. So remember, we entered a maximum value of 10 clusters, but it looks like the algorithm, based on that percent improvement parameter that we entered, decided that the optimal number of clusters is actually 3, right? So we set the maximum saying don't go more than 10, but it actually decided that 3 was the optimal number of clusters. Okay, so we'll click Save and Close. Save this as Training Report. And now you can see there are 2 new metrics in our folder here that have been created as a result of running our training report. All right, so now let's go ahead and use these metrics in a report just to give you an idea for how you can use them. So let's create a new report. Click OK. And we will select zip code for our report, for our attributes. Okay, and then let's come to back to our training metrics that were just created as a result of running our training report. And now, okay, so entity ID versus predicted value here, right? So let's entity ID is strictly the cluster number, right? So 1, 2, 3. Whereas predicted value will be the whole string. It will say cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3. That's it. That's the difference between those two. So yeah, so if we wanted to filter on, let's say, the entity ID, select, put a 1 in here, click OK. And let's say we wanted to show predicted value. Actually, let's show both of them, right? So we'll show both of these metrics. Click Run, and there you have it. So we only have 2 zip codes that fell in cluster 1. Okay, and as you can see, the predicted value is cluster 1, the whole thing written out, and the entity ID is simply the number 1. So hopefully all that made sense. All right, and just to put a little context around what we've done here is, suppose you're a retailer and you notice that certain products sell well in certain zip codes, right? And those zip codes have certain demographics. Well, wouldn't you want to identify other zip codes that have similar demographics or like zip codes, right? So you could potentially market those products in those zip codes as well, right? So that's kind of the power behind what we've done here and behind this clustering algorithm. So again, hopefully all that made sense. Questions, comments, put them down in the comments. All right, so that'll do it. This is a new channel. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and thanks for watching.